In this video, we're going to be talking about a couple of factors that could lead XRP to have some of the most monumental and massive gains in all of the crypto space in the next bull run or even in the following 6 to 12 months. In this video, I'm going to outline what the macroeconomic situation, the case of the SEC versus Ripple, as well as what this cryptocurrency bear market doing right now and its potential end could all mean for XRP. Also, we're going to be talking about what the Fed just did because they just raised rates and they want to slow down the economy. I'm going to tell you what the markets did and some of the reaction to it, what Bitcoin and the crypto space did, and what the most likely outcome is over the next couple of days. Also, some interesting news coming out of Meta/Facebook regarding its metaverse, because there was an antitrust lawsuit that was just brought against them, and talk about kicking them when they're down. Well, Meta's metaverse is actually very down. I'll tell you about it in this video. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, we're covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all those topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join the Late Night Grind community. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification icon, and if you would, do a couple of things, smash the thumbs up button, watch the video all the way to the end, and check out my Patreon. The link is in the description below. All right, guys, let's jump into it. Okay, so first and foremost, the Fed just got done talking about how it is officially raising rates. 75 basis points, which is 0.75%, is what Jerome Powell said they will be raising it by. Now, this isn't a shocker. In fact, there was about a 77% chance that that was going to be the number which the Fed was going to raise rates. So some of the speculators that are talking about the markets have believed that this price was already priced in, and that if in fact it was a 75 basis point raise, that the markets would actually see a boom from it. Well, they were absolutely correct. Pretty much all markets across the board had a boom, and Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency world are no different. They're still continuing to pump. In fact, Bitcoin hit up against a big resistance level at $23,130. And a lot of people saw that coming. There was a big sharp move to the upside. Almost all the other altcoins followed. Anything from, in fact, XRP was up about 5%. Most of the other altcoins were up anywhere from 3 to 10% in some cases. So some big moves happening in that space, as well as the regular markets. The Dow Jones, the S&P, and the NASDAQ, they all experienced basically big green candles straight upwards. So we're most likely going to see a pullback from that, a little bit of a correction. Anytime you see a parabolic move like that, you're going to see a pullback. From some of the analysis that it looks like, from a technical side of things, it looks like Bitcoin probably going to pull back somewhere back into the neighborhood, probably under 22,000, depending on volume, as well as some of the other support levels that we're going to see if it holds. After that, we could be actually seeing a bigger run upward. In the next week or two, a few people have now said, listen, you go watch out for Bitcoin to hit somewhere in the neighborhood of 25, 26, possibly even a run to 28. If you remember from some of my videos last week, I talked about the fact that between approximately 24,000 and 28,000, there's not a whole lot of resistance. So if there is any kind of volume whatsoever, it should be able to get there. So if you have some altcoins, you're doing some trading, just keep that in mind. So while the Fed is hell-bent on slowing down the economy because they believe that is ultimately going to slow inflation, well, it does, among other things, slow a bunch of other things. Economic activity slows down wage growth, slows down spending, and basically creates a surplus, drives demand down, and according to them, that is what fights off inflation. But the problem with that is, yes, that takes care of that part of it, but it doesn't exactly address the issues like supply chain concerns, still having global lockdowns in places like China, among other places, that still have major disruptions in the supply chain, which of course still affect prices. And we're going to talk about energy. Electricity prices still going up. Gas prices are still elevated comparatively to the last couple of years. So there's a few more things that the Fed needs to take into consideration when talking about inflation, and the fact that people just already don't have as much money, and this is just going to make things worse. So the one thing I did learn about studying all of this is that looking at when the Federal Reserve increases the rates, it typically is about a 1 to 2 year time frame that we can actually see any results from this. So the fact that we're not going to be able to know if this is working for a year or two is a little bit scary. However, we'll probably be able to see something of what investors and speculators are thinking it's going to do based on what the markets are going to do. So the markets are going to be something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on as to what some of the rest of the macroeconomics are going to be looking like over the next 6, 12 to 18 months. And before I get into XRP, I wanted to mention something about Facebook and Meta, because I saw several articles just crop up recently. The first one that caught my attention was that Facebook/Meta is being sued now. Basically, it's an antitrust antitrust lawsuit, and they're suing Meta for basically trying to monopolize the metaverse. Now, of course, you probably think that, of course, that's what they're going after. That's what they try to do on social media. That's why they completely changed their name to Meta, because ultimately, yeah, that's probably their goal. However, it doesn't look like it's going so successful, being that there was a huge drop-off in user activity when they changed their name to Meta. Of course, they had big shareholder losses and big stock losses when they did that as well. Their earnings look terrible. And on top of that, it was just reported that Meta's metaverse division lost $2.8 billion in the last 3 months, or excuse me, in quarter number 2 of this year alone. That's not good. So talk about kicking them when they're down. All right, so now let's get into XRP and its potential massive price increase. When? Well, I'm going to talk about it in this video because there's some speculation now that XRP, since it's up approximately 190% since its cycle low, which sounds like a lot, but really it's at 35 cents, which is down dramatically compared to what it was last year. So how is it going to get back to, say, something like $3, for instance? That is a 10x from where it's at to get to $3 or $3.50. Now, in order to do that, it's not just going to have to ride whatever the market is doing. It would even take a massive bull run from the cryptocurrency markets just to bring XRP along with it without several other factors happening with it. Number one, it looks like by all indications, Ripple is going to win this case versus the SEC. At every turn, their emotions are going in their favor. The SEC is looking bad. They're looking to have egg on their face. Literally every single time they file a motion, they're basically the laughingstock of the financial regulator world. And there is also offices that are also setting up, anticipating they're going to be taking control, mainly the CFTC, of the crypto space from the SEC. So you have all that going against the SEC, and it looks like, according to some, namely Jeremy Hogan, as well as a few others, that this case is probably going to be ending in summary judgment in the next, I'll say, 3 to 5 months. Now, it could happen as early as, say, November of this year, could happen as late as February, even March of next year, depending on how slow the SEC wants to slow this whole process down. So nonetheless, that could actually set up what some consider to be a perfect storm for a price increase for XRP. Why? Number one, you would have the FOMO, the absolute ridiculous FOMO that would happen when XRP gets its regulatory clarity and is declared a non-security digital asset, a commodity essentially. When that happens, instantly we're going to see some major price action. Who knows what the price is? There's a lot of people that claim that they know what the price is going to. When Ripple wins the case, no you don't. It's going to be a complete black swan. Nobody knows what's going to happen at that time. FOMO can take anything anywhere. But here's some of the timings that you're going to want to look out for. The bear market in the crypto space. In my last video, I talked about several different analysts, including Benjamin Cowen, including ones from Bloomberg, including from CoinGlass, which is an on-chain analytics firm. And essentially all of their bear market analysis pointing to anywhere from, say, 3 to 8 months for this bear market to last. Well, guess what? If Ripple wins the case and XRP gets its clarity smack in the middle of that, then you'll have very little time to accumulate said XRP before a major run-up. Now, if Ripple wins the case and the FOMO happens to XRP and the price spikes just at the beginning stages of the cryptocurrency bull run, I would suggest hodling, because at that point you could see another 12 to 18 month run up to potentially seeing its peak, which is what typical Bitcoin market cycles do. In fact, some people are saying XRP going to $30. A, if Ripple wins the case, and B, it times this market perfectly and has that run up right along with the crypto space and what Bitcoin's doing. Yeah, you could absolutely see a $30 XRP, which is 100x from where it's at right now. And I remember covering this case last year and talking about the same potential scenario. However, that was when a lot of the analysts thought that we were in basically a Bitcoin super cycle and that they dropped back to 50,000, 40,000, even 30,000 was just a temporary dip before it was about to move upwards. Well, that wasn't exactly the case. Now we can see that when you look at the longer time frames, it was actually somewhat obvious, but still it all points to bear markets that end at a certain time frame. In fact, some people are still saying the local bottom for Bitcoin is in now, and cryptocurrency is just going to continue to move up, or at least chop for a couple of months, but it will eventually move up. However, there is a huge X factor that could derail almost all of that, or at least put a little bit more price suppression on XRP during this time. So let's say Ripple wins the case. XRP gets its regulatory clarity. The United States relists it on the exchanges. The exchanges are actually allowed to operate, and the SEC isn't actually suing them at the time. You see the banks and the institutions climb in and use RippleNet, which is essentially their on-demand liquidity platform, using XRP for transferring value, which a lot of the world is starting to do right now. And of course, the crypto space taking off at the same time. But be wary, because the macroeconomics at that time, and I'm talking over the next 6 to 12 months, could be very bad. And we're talking unemployments are going to start to rise. The housing market is going to be crashing. In fact, several analysts have already said over the next 60 days, you're going to see housing prices dramatically start to fall. In fact, mortgage applications have fallen for the second month in a row and are anticipated to be dropping sharply over the next couple of months. So we could have a major housing crisis on our hands. We don't know we don't know exactly what increasing these interest rates are going to be doing in the short term, meaning the next 3 to 6 months. It's going to mean that borrowing money is going to be more expensive. It's going to mean that wages are going to continue to slow. In fact, they're anticipating unemployment numbers to rise because they are at extremely low levels at this point. So we're going to be talking about a recession, possibly a depression, if you really want to believe that. Not just here in the United States, but globally. A global recession. So right now, that's the big X factor that I'm looking at for the next crypto bull run. Because a lot of people just aren't going to have a lot of the excess income that they had back in 2020 and 2021 that they're going to have this time around. It's something to keep an eye on. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.